Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to crack open the core ideas from one of the most influential investment books ever written, Benjamin Graham's masterpiece, The Intelligent Investor.
Now, to really get what Graham was all about, we have to go back in time. Let's start at the absolute peak of the dot-com mania. This quote from right at the top in February 2000, it just perfectly captures that moment when everyone was convinced the old rules were dead. It's the perfect setup for the wisdom we're about to dive into.
And that idea right there, that this time is different mindset, well, that's exactly what Graham called Wall Street's great deception. It's this super intoxicating belief that he spent his entire life teaching people how to fight against.
I mean, think about it. Graham's big point here is that even a literal genius like Sir Isaac Newton could be a terrible investor. He lost an absolute fortune just by following the herd. And this proves that successful investing isn't really about your IQ. It's all about your emotional discipline, your temperament.
So to help us build that discipline, Graham makes a really fundamental distinction. You've got speculation on one side, emotional, impulsive, just following the crowd. And then on the other side, you have investing, analytical, disciplined, and businesslike. Just understanding this one difference is the first huge step toward escaping all that psychological chaos in the market.
Okay, so how do we do it? How do we learn to be in the market not like a gambler at a casino, but like a careful, prudent business owner? What is that fundamental difference?
Well, Graham's definition is just crystal clear. It has absolutely nothing to do with hot tips or trying to predict the future. It's just a simple, powerful filter for every single financial decision you make. If what you're doing doesn't meet all three of these criteria, it's not investing, it's speculating. Simple as that.
And his definition stands on three equal legs. First, you have to do thorough analysis. That means you do your homework on the business. Second, safety of principle. You have to deliberately protect yourself from taking a big loss. And third, an adequate return. You're aiming for good enough, not shoot for the moon. You take any one of those legs away and the whole stool just topples over.
You know, Graham just had this incredible talent for making these huge ideas feel simple. This quote is a perfect example. He's telling us to focus on the actual value we're getting for the price we pay. You know, like checking the price per ounce at the grocery store, instead of getting swept up in the hype and the fleeting fashion of the moment.
All right, let's get into one of Graham's most famous and, honestly, most useful ideas. It's a brilliant mental model he came up with to help you master the market's wild and often totally irrational behavior.
To completely change how you see the stock market, Graham wants you to picture this. You're not just buying some ticker symbol. You're a part owner of a real business, and you have a business partner.
And this business partner of yours, this Mr. Market, he's a very accommodating guy. Every single day, without fail, he shows up and names a price. He's willing to either buy your share from you or sell you his share at that price.
But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Mr. Market is a manic depressive. Some days, he's just euphoric. He only sees blue skies ahead, and he'll offer you a ridiculously high price for your share. But on other days, he's terrified. He's convinced the world is ending, and he'll offer to sell you his stake for pennies on the dollar.
And here is the absolute key to the whole thing. You don't have to listen to him. An intelligent investor knows that Mr. Market is there to serve you, not to guide you. Most days, you just ignore his chatter. You only pay attention when his crazy moods create an opportunity for you to act.
So this idea that you can actually use Mr. Market's mood swings to your advantage, it leads us directly into Graham's single most important concept. This is the central idea of his entire philosophy.
So, how do you do it? How do you build a buffer against the mistakes you're inevitably going to make, or against just plain bad luck, or a future that, let's be honest, nobody can predict? The answer is in what Graham called the margin of safety. Okay, so first, you do your homework, and your analysis tells you that a business's real intrinsic value is, let's say, $1 per share.
Then you wait. You wait patiently for Mr. Market to get into one of his pessimistic funks, and you only buy when he's offering you that $1 share for a big discount, say 65 cents.
That difference, that 35-cent gap between the value and the price, that's it. That is your margin of safety. It's your cushion. It's the buffer that protects your money if your analysis was a little off or if the company just hits a rough patch.
All right, so we've got Mr. Market, we've got the margin of safety. How does all of this come together into a practical, real-world strategy for the everyday investor?
Well, for what Graham called the defensive investor,
which is basically someone who doesn't want investing to be their full-time job. He suggested a really simple starting point, a 50-50 split between stocks and bonds. And the rule was to rebalance when things got out of whack, but never have less than 25% or more than 75% in stocks. Basically, you lean against whatever the market is doing.
And this all brings us to the final and maybe the most profound lesson in the entire book. It's about understanding where the real risk in investing actually comes from.
At the end of the day, the biggest financial risk you'll ever face isn't in your stocks. It's in the mirror. It's you. It's that powerful urge to ditch your whole strategy at the worst possible time, buying high when you're greedy and selling low when you're scared.
You have to remember, Graham lived through everything. Market crashes, the Great Depression, 2 world wars. And through all that chaos, his message never, ever changed. Sound principles, when you apply them consistently, produce sound results. It's a timeless anchor in a very stormy sea.
And so that's really the final challenge Graham leaves us with. It's not about trying to be smarter than the market or predicting what it's going to do next. The journey of an intelligent investor is really a journey of self-control. The market will always be moody. The real question is, will you be?